wasting time, 'cause I'm already gone. So long, can you stay the night? 'Cause you're the thing I want. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now, like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Whoa. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. When it's late at night, I feel you on my skin. My skin. You're all that's on my mind. It's finally sinking in. You're it. I know you're feeling different when you're stressed out, but even with no makeup you still stand out. 'Cause no one makes me feel the way you do now, like you do now. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. Oh, it's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. The way that you move your body, you make it look like a hobby. Every time that you touch me, it's electricity. Things we discovered underneath last night's covers. Everything came so easy. It's electricity. Electricity. It's electricity. You move your body. Electricity. You move your body. It's electricity.
Hello again, everyone. I am Gary Gatto, and welcome to Velocity Online Racing's coverage of Round 6 of Season 15 of the Velocity Online Racing Signature Series, the IndyCar Championship. And today we come to you from Kansas Speedway on Valentine's Day for the inaugural running of the VOR Kansas 325. Joining me in the booth, as always, the czar of the iRacing broadcast booth, is the great Justin Prince, who is fashionably late, but joins us just in time. If you can't be late, just be fashionably late, and it's okay. Welcome to the booth, Justin. Glad you're feeling better and glad you're here.
Yes, indeed. It should be an interesting day when it comes to our racing, when it comes to Kansas. High speeds, high intensity, and for many of these drivers, it's about one thing. Can you find the clean air to be able to get yourself to victory lane here in Kansas City?
VOR has competed at many tracks. By my rough count, 20 of them were single events on a single configuration. An example, Indy Bike in Season 6, Watkins Glen Cup in Season 10. But after 15 seasons, it's really hard to go to a track for the first time. Typically, you see the same tracks over and over and over, like Indianapolis, Auto Club, Milwaukee, Texas. Anymore, the true inaugural events are the newer IndyCar tracks on the service, like Mexico City this season, or Portland in Season 13, Nashville back in Season 6, or maybe the admin has a little something wild they want to do and they want to mix in a non-traditional IndyCar track like Imola, like we did in Season 11, or Monza in Season 9, but rarely do we get to visit a traditional, and I say that loosely, the IndyCar Series only ran here 10 times, but a traditional IndyCar style track for the first time, like we are today at Kansas. The last VOR race we went to a long-standing IndyCar road course track for the first time was Laguna Seca in Season 12. The last oval actually was last season in New Hampshire. By comparison, We have been to Daytona and Talladega more times than we have been to Kansas. So we do inaugural events, but we don't do this often, visiting a traditional IndyCar circuit that has been on the iRacing service for a very long time. And on top of that, we have a race by its very nature promotes close finishes. And together you have an event that drivers are up on the wheel to win, and the people at home, you're going to be in the edge of your seat to bear witness to what will possibly be another photo finish Indy. It's a rare, non-Indy, big event type feel here today at Kansas. And just by comparison, the most we've been to is actually the next track we're going to. We've been to Indianapolis 14 times. We'll go to 15 times for the 500 when we go back there here in a week or so. But it's always very interesting to come to a racetrack that has been on the service for a very long time, but the series has never been here before.
Well, it's the interesting thing here when it comes to that, absolutely. But I think for many of the top contenders here, Gary, the focus is quite simple. It's about trying to make sure you're going to get some good track position here. We've seen how competitive things were in California earlier when talking about some of the ovals. And keep in mind, some of the teams here today, like Autódromo Motorsport, looking to try and keep themselves together on pace. They have the advantage over Rogue by 93 coming in, you see in your bottom corner of your screen. And right now, you see how competitive some of those drivers are getting here in this qualifying session. 3 laps to be able to set the pole time here today. And already the spread, just 4/10 amongst the top 18.
Liam O'Sullivan on the provisional pole, and he's actually on the pole at Indianapolis. We will talk about that. And he is our points leader by 9 points over his teammate and boss, Julian Alteno, watching over the shoulder of Clindy, our defending series champion, as he goes through 3 and 4. Ooh, clipping the apron just a little bit there on the white line. Down to the bottom on the apron now at the start-finish line, trying to make this oval as short as possible. And let's see where he goes to the top with a 25-1. That translates to about a 2:14.9, so just on the cusp of doing 215 miles per hour here at the 1.5 mile oval out in the middle of the Kansas cornfields. And still on the racetrack, we have other cars out there making time at Clindy. 2:14.9 at O'Sullivan, our points leader, 2:14.8. F-Tink, who is also got a good qualifying run at Indianapolis at 2:14.8. Hunter Ingrave, winner twice this season. He is 4th fastest provisionally, 2:14.7. And Lamont Law, also with a good qualifying effort tonight, and also at Indianapolis with a 2:14.7, rounding out your top 5.
Yeah, some very competitive times seem to pop up here for the drivers here with the tight differences across the pack. But the main things now, as drivers are going to transition over to the race session, can they battle it out amongst the 217-lap race here today? When it comes to competitiveness, it should be wild now that Clindy gets to control things coming up here, Gary.
Yeah, and you mentioned the lap count here. That's 217 laps, or 325.5 miles. When IndyCar did come here for real, and the IndyCar ran here 10 times between 2001 and 2010, all those races were only 300-mile races. They stopped at lap 200, so we're going to actually go further than what they did traditionally in the past here by 17 laps and make this a 325-mile event. Let's get it in today's starting lineup here from the inaugural running of the Kansas 325. Clindy and O'Sullivan up at the top, our defending series champion and our current points leader up on the first row. Then we got F-Tank and Hunter Ingrave back in row 2. Amon Lal and Shane Coker, the VOR IndyCar Series admin, with a great run here. He is 6th fastest on the outside of row 3. Then we got Saucier and Vince back in row 4, and Strauss and Pollock back in row 5. We go back into the second 10 spots on the grid. We got Christensen and Inch with a good run here in row 6. Fraser Clegg, who is currently 3rd in the points with a win already this season, and Charpentier back on row 7. James Watson getting some oval work in this week. We saw him Thursday night in the Elite Racing League's race at Richmond. A little bit wider elbows and wider spaces here at Kansas on row 8. Next to Fiolis. Then we have Miriani and Dufresne back on row 9. And then we have we have Zambati. Of course there's somebody. There's somebody in Dufresne on row 9. Then Stock and Miriani on row 10. And then we go back to the last couple of spots on the grid. A couple drivers not taking any time. Deitch and Ortiz in row 11. Henrique, the last car to take time in row 12. Then we got Mason Mitchum, who is a very accomplished oval racer. I'm not sure why he's starting in the back, but maybe trying to do a worst to first challenge here. And definitely with the worst to first challenge is Julian Altena, second in the points. Our admin maybe had his hands a little full coming into today's session and just opted to start from the rear of the field. Justin, as long as you're in the draft, you're not out of this thing.
Indeed, and right now, for some of the drivers, it's going to be about strategy. How are they going to break things down on the fuel runs today? How are they going to find their way to the front? I think that's going to be the major concern for some of the drivers, to be able to get themselves to the very top of the field at the end from the back. But overall, I think we're about to see what should be a busy race for some of these competitors. Bring back to some of those types of races the Model 1.5s with the very old IndyCar chassis. Those were back and forth affairs. Going to be an interesting case today to see what the drivers do today.
68 degrees on the ambient temperature, 101, and this is all Fahrenheit, on the track temp, and it's not a very hot track temp, so I don't know how tire deg is going to be. We're going to see. Plus, we have the use of the hybrids for the first time. Getting ready to go green for 325 miles here at the Oval in Kansas, and here we go. Green flag is out here for the Kansas VOR 325. Not much has progressed since the start of the race. We're still 2 by 2 by 2. Now we go 3 wide down the backstretch. F-Teak down low. O'Sullivan in the middle. And up top is one of Clindy's teammates. Clindy in the Pink Panther there in the pink car in the bottom. That is Hunter Ingrave, one of Clindy's teammates, trying to get up to protect his sixth of his teammate and get up there and make it a little bit more of a fair battle between the Altena Autosports guys and the Rogue Racing guys.
Yeah, and what did I say? It might be a bit of a log tier day when it comes to some of the side-by-side. We're seeing that right now with O'Sullivan keeping the momentum high side, Clendy keeping it at the bottom. Curious how it transitions over the course of the race, but as you can see, this kind of goes right back to that memory with drivers like Horns Jr. and some of the races that come up to memory. Some drag races happened back in the 2000s. And today seems like an absolute challenge just to be able to get yourself fully clear here. You can see some of the runs the outside again, and Clendy already getting the advantage on the inside, and he's bringing right now the 18 with him.
IndyCar, like I said, ran here 10 times. 2 of the top 10 closest finish in IndyCar history happened here at Kansas. The 10th closest finish was Tony Kanaan over Dan Weldon and Vitor Mira by 12 thousandths of a second. That was in 2005. And in 2004, Buddy Rice over Vitor Mira. Poor Vitor. Could have had 2 IndyCar wins here by a blink of an eye. It loses to Buddy Rice, the 2004 Indy 500 champion, by, get this, 51 ten-thousandths of a second. That is the 3rd closest finish ever in IndyCar history, and that happened here at Kansas Speedway. I don't know if we're going to have a 51 ten-thousandths of a finish here today. It will be interesting to see, but that is about half a length of a tip of the nose, I think, of one of these cars.
Yeah, that might be almost a little bit too.
We got contacted turn 1s and 2, and we are under caution. Sorry to cut you off, as a big 3-car incident. Charpentier, that's Mason Mitchum making it through. Charpentier, Vinci, and Saucier all involved in an incident in turns 1 and 2.
And going to be able to look at this here. I think the 19, we talk about aero wash when it comes to these cars, just got a huge whiff of it pushed way up the track, right up into the outer groove, and collects 2 cars with it. Just got so tight that it ended up crossing across the track in a terrible spot.
Yeah, let's queue up some other angles on the replay here so I can catch it more. But yeah, dirty air, no place to go in the middle. Here he is off of 3 and 4. Of course, just jockeying for position all over. This is in real. Oh, he got rear-ended actually.
Yeah, there was that stack up built up on the outside here. Here's what I'm talking about with Charpentier. See right here, takes a little bit shallow and it washes up into the side pod. That's where the contact is.
Yeah, it looks to me that maybe he caught Strauss at a wrong time and was trying to avoid getting into the back of him. Got a big run, and yeah. And again, these drivers are learning a little bit of an extra new technical issue here, having the hybrid available to him, and he could have been very easily looking down on the black box or going into the hybrid boost right then and there, something, and just taking your eyes off, and the next thing you look up, and then all of a sudden you're almost in the attenuator in the car in front of you.
Yeah, now at this point for the drivers, chance to at least reset for a couple of the fuel stints, interesting enough, because the top of the caution flag. At least a third of the field electing to come down and take service here. So, chance to extend the fuel runs, try something a little bit different in their sake. I think a lot of them actually just took fuel only to be able to save a little bit of time. Can confirm drivers like Clegg didn't jump up on the jacks.
Yeah, they do have tire limits here for this race. 7 sets of tires, one of the cars 6 in the pits. We are at lap 8. 15th on back, all came to pit roads, led by Clegg, Deitch, Ortiz, and Henrique. Julian starting from the rear, opting just to come in for a little bit of service as well. Mason Mitchum, same as well. And really, Justin, when you're this early in the race and that far back, and really, we talked about it, it doesn't matter where you are on the racetrack here, as long as you're in the draft here at Kansas, you're in contention. Going to pit road and even putting on a new set of tires or not is not really going to hurt you here. There's only upside to it.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the potential the tire degradation we see as drivers burn off the fronts in particular here. So I think for the most part, it's going to be just a matter of what's going to be the best strategy for the fuel stints here today in terms of getting things sorted. Interestingly, Clundy electing to run the apron here in 1 and 2. Drivers did have a bit of an issue. They just confirmed in the session there was a double file by accident here, Gary. They have switched everything to single file, so we are going to be okay for the restart as Clundy lines back up for the single file.
So they should do in the neighborhood of 40-ish laps on a 40 to 45 laps on a stint here. And that's just kind of based on numbers that we've taken from previous like Indy Oval Series and that type of thing on the iRacing service. So that should still hold true about that here. So Clindy down on the very bottom, trying to save on some precious fuel, thinking that it still might be a fuel race. It's a hard habit to break being an IndyCar driver. Once you get into, here's the start, once you get into really the cockpit of these cars, it's just so hard not to think about saving fuel. Unlike other series here where you don't have to really worry about fuel strategy, here at IndyCar, fuel strategy it's like half the battle.
Exactly, and right now you're already seeing part of the battling is the battle on the racetrack. O'Sullivan went straight to the outside. Can O'Sullivan find his way to wrap around the top? The answer is I don't know if it's going to be able to work here today. Hasn't really gotten the chance to clear yet, but you can see 2 by 2, 2 rows deep, make it 3.
Katie Pollock is now wanting to be part of this, showing some aggression up at the front of the pack. So if we do 217 and we divide it by 45, that's 4.8 stops that they're going to have to do over the course of this race. Is it possible, though, saving a little fuel, maybe shaving out that 0.8 stop, and we got Katie up into the wall.
Oh, that was a dangerous squeeze there, Gary, because you know what happened there? I think Katie went down at the same time as the driver below her went up. Just got ping-ponged. Epting.
We'll go back and check that replay out here in a little bit. But Peter Somebody to Love, he has decided to turn the purple lap a little bit further on back in the draft. So back a lot of pace for the drivers further on back. Clindy, though, holding that what we call the IRL line, the old Indy Racing League line. When the Indy Racing League came here, if you held the bottom, you held control of this race. And right now, conditions are just calling for the bottom groove to be really OP right now.
We're seeing the chance for the outside to get a pull from the front straightaway, but the inside absolutely seems to be the place to be, just because short distance around, not as much ground to have to make up compared to the middle line or top groove. There is a lot of speed built up, I'm noticing, for the top. Look at that. Just as you make that point, O'Sullivan gets the clearance and Clendy lets him go.
It might not be so much that, FT was looking to the bottom there. Clendy shut the door. It might not be so much that Clendy got past. He might have just lit him on by, because Clendy's like, I'm not saving any fuel, and if I'm trying to save off, 0.8 of a stop, I need to save some fuel. So I'm going to get back behind. I led a couple of laps. I've looked good. I got some track position, but I need to save some fuel. And I think that might have been a calculated risk there that Clendy did, allowing Liam O'Sullivan on by.
Yeah, just end up trying to reset, try and get into a decent rhythm. We'll say Shane Coker just took the lead with Violas. The outside yet again pops up. That group is getting a lot of speed here. This is almost like what you would see in a stock car for the outer groove.
It's interesting. Again, drivers we haven't seen up at the front this season, all season long, are now moving up to the front, and we're going to watch this replay. And again, Liam's just all of a sudden like, well, I need to save fuel too. And so we're going to see now maybe two sets of drivers out there. Those that are playing the long game, those are like, I see an opportunity to get up here and lead and get some TV time, so to speak. And we're seeing that right now with Coker and Violas. Coker, no stranger to these cars. Of course, he runs the WWT Indy Oval Series that you see Sunday nights over on P1. But he also has, by his own account, a fixed Indy 500 win during fixed Indy 500 weekend and his split last year. So he is no stranger to a victory lane and no stranger to these cars, but he has definitely been a stranger to the lead pack here in the VOR Series, and now he gets to lead some laps as Fiola's taking a peek to the high side.
Yeah, you just see the replay, by the way, what happened with Katie in terms of their situation already down pit road, but this front of the field absolutely starting to see the boost. It's worth noting that with the tire wear situation, there was very little to no tire wear that happened because the restart of a session that we had, because the timing of it in said session, and we're starting to see the impact here now. It's rubbered up. Look at that cross. Violas takes the lead.
Yeah, I think Shane might have let the door open just a little bit. The barn door was open, and Violas now takes the pink car to the point. Oh, Shane into the wall off of one, into one.
Yeah, that got a little bit sketchy yet again. They are getting really bold with some of these moves here in this battle. We'll say some of the others are moving up even higher, though, as this run goes on. You're seeing O'Sullivan and company start run towards the wall, trying to build up the momentum up top shelf to try and see if they can get a little bit of tire save that way, a little bit of speed that groove.
Violas up 15 spots. James Watson up 11. Nigel Stock up 11. Michael Deitch up 12. A lot of guys from the back decided to see this as an opportunity and get up into the mix. Guys that started up front and decided to go to the mid-pack and save on some fuel. So again, competing strategies out there of guys that see this as an opportunity to go to the front, push. Guys normally at the front, like our points leaders, deciding to float on back and maybe save some fuel in the mid-pack. Problem is, in the mid-pack, Justin, that's where the shenanigans happen. You can get caught up in a big one here.
Exactly, and this is the type of racetrack where incidents can absolutely cause chaos. This has become an absolute pack race, too, where if there's any sort of mistake here today, you're going to absolutely get bit, and we've seen that already with the first caution. For a lot of these drivers, it's going to be difficult. We'll say, look at this charge. You talked about drivers trying to make sure they woke up for the bell. James Watson and I woke at about the same time, apparently, here today, because Watson mentioned he was in a rush to make sure he got into the session. He is up to third, his best run at an oval so far.
Yeah, James Watson has 34 career starts today. His 35th career start in the VOR Series. He's been around for a while, a lot of experience in these cars. 4 top 5s, 17 top 10s in those 34 starts. And he is working on, right now, on the back of F-Tink. F-Tink just staying in line right now, very patient. Now he pops out. Now we go 3 wide in the 1. James goes back to the bottom, and he's going to get the position on F-Tink because he's in the draft with Violas. F-Tink can close the door if he wants to, and he does right there.
Big block to the bottom once again. F-Tink will say, to get the elbows out today when it comes to his machine. Has not been really allowing too many runs to come alongside today. And now it's causing some of the drivers to get really bottled up with, well, the 18 is trying to play some good defense here. Hasn't been able to get some good offense in response here. Look at this, one of his teammates, though, O'Sullivan, just wrapping the top shelf. Yet again, wants to pick up the ground again. And we talked about O'Sullivan using the top groove, using the top again, starting to get some good speed in the middle of the back straightaway. Front straightaway, it's not working with the 12 yet.
I want to shout out Michael Deitch one more time. Again, he's in 10th spot, now up to 9th as he's under Amon Law. He is the highest of those that came to pit road on lap 8 for our first caution. So we'll be continuing to watch him. He's could, if this goes green, he's looking at picking up some track position here on these guys. And then if it goes caution immediately once he takes the lead, he's got himself on the gamble that's paid off.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity to say the very least if he's able to execute. And some of the others too. It's interesting that Clegg hasn't been able to really gain too much today on Tennant as well, amongst those at the back. As we said, track position is hard to come by sometimes, and this is kind of getting that feeling where to get through the logjam, you have to do something different. O'Sullivan just moved up to 4th finally with the top group, by the way. And look at that, Watson trying to use it now a little bit to see if it works, all while O'Sullivan picks up his draft with it.
Again, these guys up front have not stopped yet. They're all on about 30-lap-old tires. So the tire wear is starting to play a little bit of a role right now. Track temperature has come up a little bit since the start of the race. It's 108 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, all this while we talked about when it comes to Deitch. Just continuing to try and bounce runs in a lot of different types of cars, keep in mind. I actually had profiles done about him earlier last year, where he basically was about an hour outside of Manhattan, has been racing since 8 years old in various different sims, does a lot of different events in regards to stock cars and ovals, and we've seen how well it's worked out for him on strategy. Christensen, you see how big the log jam is here in the heart of the pack. This heart of the pack, the air wash, just causing no major advantages inside or outside to be able to really pick up spots here.
The downforce and the life in these tires and the lack of degradation is allowing these cars to stay kind of packed up. They're starting to string out just a little bit now as we get more into this run and as we get closer and closer. Oh, car to the wall coming off a 2. That might have been Deitch. But as we get closer and closer to that first round of pit stop, for those who have not stopped, that's really going to stretch this field out.
Yeah, that's going to be the big one. It's going to almost be like a bit of a compressed version of California with what we're seeing here today. Because remember, those became couple car packs over the course of the race over in Fontana. This time out, wouldn't be surprised to see that again, where you have groupings of maybe 3 to 5 after the pit stop sequence coming up in a little bit here, depending on what happens. We do have lap traffic ahead of the leader, by the way, with Viola's trying to pull away. It is the 42 as they battle for second yet again. Some more air wash about to hit the track.
Yeah, I think Katie might be down on power a little bit by smacking the wall. Might have damaged the floor of that car a little bit, so she's going to be down on speed, and that allows Violas on by James Watson at second. He will use that little bit of slipstream that she is punching a hole in the air to pull himself away and make that pass. Oh, take it to the wall, almost right. Oh, wow, look at Shane Coker take evasive maneuver right to the bottom, but F-Take into the wall right in front of his teammate Liam O'Sullivan. Almost championship implications there off of 2.
A little bit sketchy. Meatball, F-Take has broken the suspension completely here. And watch this. just pushes up and up and up and exits into the wall. Just got way too tight, way too big, and you see some of the error problems there for Coker.
Coming to pit road, and he's coming to, I believe we have to pit off of 3. So you have to enter pit road and ride the apron all the way round 3 and 4. And he is on the apron right now, answering the call to that meatball flag that he has received by smacking the wall. And Coker might have hit the wall as well. We did see him take evasive maneuvers.
You definitely bounced off of it to add on to that. So one of the fastest cars in the early going with an air bounce. By the way, in all this, Clendy's saying, thank you for all the free real estate. I'll retake my 3rd spot at least.
Yeah, he is up to 3rd now. And it is still Fiolis up 15 spots, your leader over the last handful of laps. James Watson has broken away and is just behind Fiolis by about 0.5 of a second. So still within the draft envelope. But here comes Clendy late in the runs. And we've seen this a lot in the Indy Oval Series, the official iRacing series there, that Clendy sticks around. And then you start seeing late in the run, Clendy starts coming to the top of the order. Maybe some tire management going on for Clendy.
I think so. Trying to play this smart, and he's right now one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. He was 4/10 quicker than the race leader last time by. Talked about with the way the aero's going to work, trying to manage the rubber with these Firestones. He's letting it roll a little bit more with a bit of a lift into 3 and into 1. Trying to let it coast to be able to make sure he cuts to the bottom. See right a little bit there with the flash. Just got tight with him keeping full throttle. Fiolis, keep in mind, still hugging that inside groove over this. His cushion still 0.5 second where he's kept it pinned full throttle compared to those who have to make those lifts down in the draft.
He's not saving any fuel by running up front in that clean air. So clean air, he's going to have all the downforce and the choice of lane and everything. But he is punching a hole in the air right now and burning more fuel, even more so than Watson, even more so than Clendy. So we'll be seeing Fiolis probably come to pit road any time here. He's green flag pit stops, so we are on the cusp of those. I figured to be right around lap 40 or so. Remember, we had some caution in there. So I would say sometime definitely before we get to lap 50, do we expect to see people hit down pit road or so?
Yeah, I'm expecting the wave to come in pretty quickly here. No move from Fiolis to the bottom this time.
Sullivan.
Oh, wow. Sullivan takes second away. Got a little bit tight, though. Still able to rotate up the top, and here comes Clendy cutting underneath to pull off both of them.
But he's just going to fill in the hole there, and he does, and he's just going to stay on the bottom. See O'Sullivan go to the top side. Clendy kind of floats out, grabs a little bit of the draft on corner exit. We'll have the run down the backstretch. Liam fades to the inside a little bit, kind of throws a bit of a fade. And now they'll race down the front stretch. I believe the ground rules for the day, the apron is not available to pass on until the final lap. So do not expect to see anybody using that apron unless it's taking evasive maneuvers.
My thought with that, too, is would there be an issue with any weight transfer when it comes to speed? Because I know with stock cars, for comparison, on the longer runs, you can potentially spin out with the transition on older rubber there. So there might be some balance there, too, for later. We'll have to keep an eye on that for the final lap as drivers go for the drag race. But at this point, the run continuing on here with this 1.5 miles.
Hunter Ingrave underneath James Watson again. So James was up in second a couple laps ago, and now he is faded back to sixth. Maybe used those tires up a little too much racing to the front, and staying in that dirty air is causing a little bit of drag and a little bit of pace loss for James Watson, head of Team Watson Racing.
I think possibly, yeah, because up 9 right now, that car has just fallen off a cliff, just not able to carry as much speed without pushing tight. See that with a lot of people right here. You see right there, that stock went way up the groove and nearly clapped the wall himself. So a lot of the drivers who pushed, and tried to gain a lot of track position, or at least find some clean air, regardless of if they're at the front or if they're in now what is essentially pack 2 as things splinter here, Gary. They're starting to pay the price, and this is what I talked about. need a start up at the front.
You're right, and Mason Mitchum, the guy that just passed stock, he has shown some patience and has now worked his way from the back of the field up 10 spots now to 14th. Much in the same progress as Julian up to 12th, who started in the rear of the field. He's up 13th. We see Fiolis getting ready to come to pit road on the apron now, off of turns 3 and 4. And as I mentioned, right before lap 50, so on schedule for our leader, who really just couldn't save any fuel up there and is the first to come to pit road and bite for these green flag pit stops.
Yep, so window open under 50 laps so far. Remember, Fiolis burning a lot of fuel by staying out. Saucia officially done for the day, by the way. That's going to have point ramifications here when it comes to his situation. But everybody else going to be able to go a little bit longer, as you were saying, because of that need to lift in the dirty air and adjust how they're working. Maybe also have the adjustment of the fuel mapping. And that breakdown over the course to run going to make things a little bit interesting on the timing by the end of this one here for some of these competitors, to say the very least, on the fuel stints.
And we're still looking at least two more stops. At least two more stops for Fiolis as he's now rolling off of pit road. It's not reasonable to think, it is unreasonable to think that he could get to about lap 100 and do another 50-lap stint. Remember, there was some caution in that first stint, so I don't think they'll be able to make it to 50. They'll be more into the neighborhood of 90 for the next round of pit stops. And there's Liam O'Sullivan, our points leader, coming to pit road. 45 miles per hour on that pit road speed limit, on the button, looking for that spot, Justin, and he is way down pit road.
Yeah, and mostly nobody with issues on the access road with the pit stop sequences. Full service today. Should be about 10 seconds. We do have one driver who picked up a speeding penalty. Henrique's gotten it, so that's going to be a big time loss when it comes to him. By the way, net lead for a second was the 32, not the 06. That has changed, as here's a look at the sequence.
Enrique on the bottom here, and he is trying to come to pit road and just trying to slow everything. And it looks like his right front is actually a blown tire. It's down to the cords. So tire wear now becoming an issue for some of these drivers. I didn't expect it to, but that is a obvious, obvious visual clue that there's heavy wear. But now we go back on the racetrack. Oh, we got a car spinning a little bit, and that's Hunter Ingrave. He caught it, and Ingrave caught it, but it's Messiah Strauss, who was high. Oh, gosh, running into the zone.
My goodness, Ortiz straight into him in the midst of the sequence. Oh my, over the radio. Big crash for the 00. That will collect in total 3 cards here, but you've seen it there. Engrave had issues, snapped hard, had to be weight jacker there. Collects another, and Engrave is really damaged here, but watch this with Strauss. Locked it down. Wow.
I mean, the caution was out for a little bit. Was everyone just not paying attention? I know Ortiz just came off of pit road, and he's at full bore. And watch does his dash slide up and say under caution? It does. It is.
Yeah. Have to say, that's tunnel vision almost, and going to be hard to be able to adjust to mid-corner. Ortiz straight out of pit road in the first place was focusing just gas. Montana nearly got collected too, just had enough time to gather it back up to cut left.
Our second caution. And wow, Fraser Clegg all of a sudden is now inherited the lead. Well, he's had a bit of a rough day, and he has worked his way up 12 spots to the lead. Clindy now coming off of pit road. I think Amon Law clips him at the line. Yes, and Amon Law now to second spot on the racetrack. Clindy third. Hunter Ingrave, not much damage, if any damage at all, coming off of pit road. He is fourth, and Julian Altina is fifth.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting here. I'm not sure why Clegg has not come down yet, because he's going to have to come down.
Maybe he missed getting on the pit road, and
I think he was trying to catch up to the pace car, maybe. That might have been the reason here, because some of the drivers were way far back. But
he did stop early in that lap 8 caution, so he's got a few more laps under him. Nah, there he goes. It's possible that he just was unable to get the pit road when he passed it the last time by.
Yeah, but this is a huge caution because of this situation. When it comes to today, Fiola's now going to be pinned a lap down here. Watson, Coker, a lot of fast cars are now pinned as a result of this situation here, to say the very least. This is going to be chaotic, to say the least, for these drivers.
Yeah, we're going to reset everything, get fresh tires, and now we'll be looking, again, a lot closer to that lap 100 neighborhood for the next round for our next stops. I don't think anyone is a lap down right now, other than those that had penalties. We do have a black flag for Fraser Clegg. I'm not sure why. I don't know if that's going to be removed or not. Did he enter at a closed pit road?
Yep. That is probably not going to get clear, because it's pretty clear cut. You enter pit road, coming to 2 laps to go after staying out the first time, Gary. You end up getting a penalty, usually in the sim. We'll see if race control does clear, but drivers are getting it explained right now in that situation. I think some of the competitors, as we come to the start, they have told him serve the penalty, Gary.
He's going to have to come down pit road, and he's going to come down now as the green flag is out, and that is going to cost him some, and I believe this is a drive-through penalty. I don't think he has to stop, so he just needs to drive through, but unfortunately, by the time he regains position on the racetrack, he will be right with these leaders, and now we are going to go 2 wide with Julian thinking about threading the needle in the middle. At 3 wide now into 3 and 4. We got Hunter Ingrave up top, Julian in the middle. He's bringing 44 Nation of Christensen right with him. And here comes Amon Law, who was our leader at the restart. He is now fading back to 4th. And Katie Pollock is unfortunately down a couple laps, 3 laps, because of that incident we saw early in the race, but has found pace now and is with the leaders and intermixed amongst that group of 5.
It's going to be a bit of a factor early on in this battling. You have to figure out a way around the 42 here. But you can tell up front, some of the drivers like Christensen are really taking advantage of this caution flag. John Christensen, for his reference here, Gary, had been well on his own on an island before the caution flag. Altena was in pack 2. So a lot of these drivers, especially these teammates, are able to absolutely capitalize in the biggest way, because the situation, the Altena machines are in a great spot here that were not in the lead group. As here comes another one of them.
Liam O'Sullivan almost, I think he did kiss the wall. He might have got crowded up there a little bit. He approached Katie Pollock very quickly, went to the high side. Katie took a little bit of extra real estate there and forced the Liam to go high, but he has now regained that momentum, and he is now taking a beat on his team owner on the high side, and he's got a head full of steam, and he's going to go to the point and be the leader, because Pollock has run a lap down and leading this pack right now. Here comes Stock.
Yeah, look at this. A lot of drivers having a hard time getting sipping around here. Another one of the drivers that is in an interesting situation that we've seen trying to capitalize with the caution flag. Stock, remember, was struggling mightily with tire wear, was pushing tight right before pit stops. Now the 90 is in a prime position to fight, as look at the 42 trying to get a lap back.
I think if I'm Christensen, I like where Christensen is. I like him. I like being on the bottom. I think being on the bottom is the place to be here. At pretty much all points of this race, being on the bottom. I don't think you want to leave the bottom, certainly in the closing laps. If you got the bottom, I'm going to defend the bottom as fiercely as possible. And right now, Christensen is making hay on the bottom, as he is going to stay in the draft with Katie. Katie's going to stick with Liam, as she pops out to the high side now, opening the door to allow Christensen to get a little bit closer. Violas back in fourth, down low of stock. He's in the draft behind Christensen, and just about 2/10 behind this group is Julian Altena in that blue car, that cobalt blue. And behind him are all the guys that pretty much started up front on this stint. It's Julian, Amon Law, and Hunter Ingrave.
Yeah, and Ingrave, remember, going to be one of the drivers that we've seen with the incident earlier on. Still kept himself decent track position from it. Surprising part, but it's about survival when it comes to these races. Keep in mind, you're seeing right now Christensen, let's just letting it roll, I think, try to save some tires here. We'll save, you know who's not saving tire right now? It's James Watson, a couple cars behind him. He just took a 3 wide to pass by 2 different cars in 1 and 2 and is flying through this field.
Liam O'Sullivan at the point. He is your pole sitter a week from now when we go to Indianapolis. Then we got Matthias Strauss, who qualified second in Indianapolis. Unfortunately, was taken out in that last caution. And Amon Law, who is going to line up on the outside of the front row at Indianapolis when we head there for the 15th running of it here in the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Championship. Amon Law is going to be in that 3rd spot, and he is up in this lead pack as well. Roden Eftink will start 4th in Indianapolis. Unfortunately, he is out for the day, so he can begin to focus on Indianapolis very early. But Brian Fiolis, he's looking for 2 good races in a row. He's looking for a good race here in Kansas, and he's got himself a good start at Indianapolis, starting 5th. And Milan Vogelsang not in the lineup today, will start 6th in Indianapolis. That's all a week from now. We've already had qualifying here at Indianapolis. So anybody who picks up a penalty from the day, which might actually be in Hunter Ingrave's future, we don't know, we'll see. He will have to probably get those penalties at the Richmond race, which will immediately follow Indianapolis.
It's a curious thought process when it comes to penalization side of things, but it isn't a penalty situation for Indy for those wanting to clarify. No penalties for Indy that cross on over, but I will say next week's going to be a wild one for 500 miles. Can't drop that race either. Look at Fiolas looking to drop his way ahead. He took the wave, remember, to be able to get around. Just was in front of the leader with the time of the caution flag. He is flying and is coming up for the lead.
Remember, he had to stop earlier than everyone. That's why, staying out, was the right call. Of course, he just stopped, and he's back on the lead line. He is just wasting no time. Apparently, he feels very comfortable at this racetrack.
Fiolas might be a huge threat for the win with how things are looking here. He has been really good on being able to drive clean air, but, oh no! That's a dangerous squeeze underneath. O'Sullivan even says, what's going on?
And here comes James Watson. Again, we saw him do much the same thing in the first stint, and then the tires went off, and he went to the back. Stock with him. Stock happened the same thing. Eftink now back on the racetrack, and there we see him staying hot as everyone around. Oh, another car in the wall just in front. That might have been Katie again, just trying to stay out of everyone's way.
Yep, but look at this on this push. That was bold, Gary.
He saw open area there, and it was open, but not very long.
Yeah, but he's still trying to make sure he can get at least the line going. You talked about the importance of getting to the bottom of the racetrack. I think it's kind of solidifying to where you leave any little gap, someone's going to say if gap car, but if gap car here tonight, gap might lead to big kaboom. And right now, Fiolas looking to now try the outside instead because that's the forced hand.
Track record here at Kansas held by Thomas Scheckter when the IndyCar Series used to visit here, 2:18.5. We're not quite that fast here today. Fastest lap right now is a Julian with a 2:15.9. Dan Weldon and Scott Dixon each have 2 wins here when the IndyCar Series used to come here. It's possible we might see the IndyCar Series come back. I don't know. They keep talking about possibly going back to Chicagoland. We will see. There have not been a competitive. Look out! That is Shane Coker up into the wall, losing a lot of momentum and almost contact with. Up into the wall. There is Coker. Unfortunately, we got Kyle Clidworth down onto the apron. He had to fight his way back. Oh wow!
That was nearly huge contact for the 85, but Coker, he's had struggles with the wall all day, Gary. Has it happened yet again? And it seems like Aero Wash has been his bugaboo. Yeah, pushed into the wall again.
He gets into the wall, and then Julian with a head of steam has to take evasive action. And now here he comes up, and he comes out a little bit on Clindy. And Clindy kind of work together at times, so that's like, oh my gosh, and a little bit of overreaction, trying to give Clindy room. Maybe overcompensating because they're working with one another, and he just overcorrects and smacks the wall. And a good day, or a day that was shaping up to be pretty good for the vote of admin, is day done for the green car.
Yeah, unfortunate. Just was the way things went here today, and the traffic all day long, actually. But up front, still battling. Look at Watson. He is pushing again.
He gets a good run here, and he is showing high aggression, which is not like him. I know him to be a very patient driver, so he must feel really, really good in the cockpit. He must feel good in that sim of his, because he normally is a pretty patient driver, and he must feel the pace here at lap 80 as he is giving a good show here with Fiolas and Liam O'Sullivan. Liam O'Sullivan, our points leader, and he is looking pretty good. And let's not forget about fourth place Stock, who is just behind this group. And he's not out of the draft envelope yet, but he's about 8/10 on back, and he can't afford to fall back any further. Otherwise, he's going to be swallowed up in an Altina Autosports sandwich.
Yeah, and that obviously is not a sandwich you want to be in today. You don't want to be squeezed between teammates. But, I mean, there's a reason the Altina machines have been able to control this season in the point standings with their competitiveness. We'll say, with some of the drivers today, might be some swings for the championship. O'Sullivan, with the way things have gone, in a decent spot here. Remember, with the points lead by 9 coming into today for this race. For reference, Altena was up in second. Some of the others also up there include Clegg, who's going to lose ground, and Ingrave unless they get some luck here today. Right now, things have looked really good when it comes to O'Sullivan, Altena, and for Clendy for the point standings potentially today, as we still see the fight happen.
Julian very patiently gets around Stock. Here comes Amon Lal, his teammate, to the inside, but Julian in the draft and now catching that group. Julian showing a lot of patience here, a lot of aggression being shown by Liam O'Sullivan. Wanted to go to the front, wanted to lead a lot of laps. Julian being very patient and just picking off spots one by one, realizing that this is a 325-mile race, not a 150-mile race.
Yeah, exactly, and I think some of the drivers going to have to think about how to pace themselves here, knowing especially we're talking a few laps fuel distance in terms of difference because of those who are able to pit under caution compared to those who pit under green. And a lot of those drivers are going to have to start doing some math pretty soon. O'Sullivan, for reference, 29 laps into the run. Violas has the worst fuel mileage out of anybody, coming up to 36 this time.
He had to drive from the back of the pack to the front of the pack just to get up to here again. So he is looking to probably be the first to blink once more if we go green flag all the way through this stint. Hey, if you enjoy Velocity Online Racing's coverage of the VOR IndyCar Championship and respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so don't miss out on future iRacing broadcasts. Viola's still getting a clean nose looking on that high side. It's just, you get a clean nose, but you're not going to get a run up there. It's like you pull out and then you get alongside it and the car just stalls.
Yeah, it just does not seem to work right there, for example. There's the stall at 220. Then you have the speed bleed because you're on a higher groove, 209 to 213. It's a faster amount of speed on the top groove, Gary, in terms of miles per hour. But it's not working out because it's so equalized out with the overall speed between the short distance at the bottom compared to the top, that the higher speeds just are so mute from up on the grooves that it just mitigates that advantage. Give credit, by the way, in the midst of caution flags. One thing we haven't touched upon for Lau is he's been up in the front since the caution started as the leader. He stayed in the main pack.
Now, one of the things that we haven't really talked about is, again, the use of a hybrid here. And Fiolis is in a much better position to regen on the hybrid than Liam O'Sullivan is. O'Sullivan, when he regens, does not have the aid of a draft in front of him to kind of help that drag be reduced when he hits that regen button. For Fiolis, when he wants to regen, he just tucks back in a line like he is right there, regens, and then deploys going into the corner.
Yeah, just continues to play around with that to be able to balance out the speed. And right now, the problem is everyone's kind of playing that same game plan to give the boost down the straightaways. And right now, Watson just cannot seem to be able to fully capitalize here. Remember, he fell off hard around this point last time on the fuel run. See if he falls off this time as they work their way into just a few laps away from those pit stops. And right now, their advantage, the packs are starting to splinter here, Gary. Yep. That top four is almost a full second up.
Yeah, and again, James Watson been in these cars a number of times. It says 34 prior starts here. Just in this series alone, he's been around the community for a while. So he probably made the mental note that that first stint, he fell off pretty bad there at the end, that he should probably adjust his strategy for this stint. And it's possible that's what he's doing back there, is he showed what aggression he needed, and then to a point, he flipped that switch off, and it's like, okay, let's just ride in line. Let's save these tires. Let's work on track position for this next round of pit stops.
Exactly, and there is the risk, remember, of drivers having incidents to pin you back or lose the track position. We've seen how hard... Oh, no!
Wall!
Yeah, well, there goes... Aero wash indeed, pushed up the groove. This is similar to what we've seen at this point last run for some of the drivers. Now the question is, Fiolis' car hurt or not?
He might want to think about coming to pit road sooner rather than later. He's at lap 44. I would imagine he's going to have to come to pit road here. We are in that 90 range where I talked about next round of pit stops. So I would imagine that he's going to come to pit road here before lap 100. I would imagine everybody will be coming into pit road around 100 or shortly thereafter at this point. 37 laps, 38 laps now in this stint for O'Sullivan. 42 for James Watson, 38 for Law, and 45 for Fiolis. So the top four positions on slightly different strategies for the most part, outside of the teammates of Law and O'Sullivan.
Yeah, and right now, I think Fiolis is somewhat okay. He's holding track position. It's a dropping through the pack or anything. This did close up that gap that was starting to form up, by the way, between the groups. And one of the air trends is also appearing. If you're the leader, at this point of the run, you start to break away because you're able to keep full throttle around compared to everybody else's lifting points at this point. Drivers like Clundy, once again, are thriving because the tires are much better on the one.
And he's bringing his teammate, Hunter Ingrave, with him. Yeah, Fiolis is starting to lose a little bit of pace. He might be damaged. He might be trying to adjust his driving style to work to a damaged car. He might have floor damage too. We don't know. That was a pretty good lick, and he stuck to the wall, and he had to make some evasive maneuvers to get off the wall. So again, I would be thinking that he might be thinking coming to pit road sooner rather than later might be a better option, but he's going to stay out there and try to run this out.
Yeah. I think he's kind of just going to let things play out. He's letting things roll about a couple miles an hour more than everyone else here, and he is plummeting.
Here he comes. Here he goes. Here he comes. Last time by, he was a 26.2 on his lap time, where everyone else was in the 25. So he was hemorrhaging a little bit of speed out there. We'll see him come to pit road, trying to slow the car down from well above 200 miles per hour to 45 miles per hour on the pit road speed limiter. Going back up to the front, James Watson now under attack by Amon Law, and here's Clindy. Clindy's going to take a peek underneath Amon Law, and he will try to get P3 here late in this stint.
Yeah, we'll see if Clendy's going to keep this up. I think he is, because he, again, on speed, on the average, has been running about a tenth quicker than the race leader over the past 5 laps. Yet again, gets it done. He is marching ahead here at the perfect time.
Fuel is back on the racetrack, 9.3 in the box. So there might have been a little damage, but not enough to make a considerable longer pit stop for him. But 35.6 in the lane, 9.3 in the box. It looks like standard service for one of our early leaders.
Yeah, and for some of the drivers now, it's the matter of getting the service done, because here's the thing. With the breakdown, with how many laps are left of the stints and how long they were running before, I think for the most part, Gary, that drivers are not going to be able to cut out a pit stop per se. We're talking about the windows lining up to less than 20, maybe 15 laps to go for the final stop. So right now, there is a little bit of flexibility maybe with that, because of the way things are breaking down with the fuel mileage.
Amon Lal fading back to 5th, Hunter Ingrave up to 4th. James Watson still holding down 3rd. Clendy, you watch this battle now, as Ingrave to the high side of Watson. This is 4th, 3rd. Ingrave led at the line. He's leading through the corners. And again, I'm wondering if, James's tires are going off late in the run. Ingrave back there working with Clendy on tire management, getting on by. Amon Lal suffering a little bit on tire day as well. He's now around James Watson. So Watson goes from 3rd to 5th. Hunter Ingrave up to 4th. And Clendy and O'Sullivan side by side now, as Clendy has caught the leader.
Oh, this
leader
is
coming to pit road.
Well, was interesting, but Clendy showing he was that strong. Wouldn't be surprised if Clendy
Watson
came
pit
down.
road.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Clendy's got to have to respond here maybe, because he's one of the better cars on the track, going to have better tire wear now for the very end of the run. Let's see if he does respond or not. Looking like the answer is going to go as long as he can here to maximize how fresh those Firestones are at the end.
Clendy 48 laps into this stint. Liam O'Sullivan did 48 on his, so Clendy saving a lap or two now, more fuel by just hanging out in the back. Same thing with Ingrave. Amon Lal's going to stay out there with those worn tires. Mason Mitchum, let's take a look at Mason. He's up the 4th spot. He's up 20 positions, started in the rear. I told you at the beginning that's an unlikely starting position for him, but he's an oval master. And he is now doing the, I was wondering if he was doing the worst the first challenge, just start in the back and work your way up to the front. And, well, here he is.
I don't think it's necessarily his intent to say, I want to go and start at the back at a track that's very hard to make your way through. I think today for the 3, it's worked out on strategy, it's worked out with the luck, and it's kind of flipped his way to the pack as a result here. Compare that to some of the others. You can tell the low tire.
This is Zambati. Somebody needs to change that tire, literally. Michael Deitch on pit road for a scheduled stop. As somebody tries to get on pit road with that tire in a bad state right now. Clendy's still out there going long. 52 laps on this current stint. 52 for Ingrave, 52 for Lal, 52 for Mitchum, 52 for Altena, 52 for Christensen. Stock out there long. So a lot of these drivers going as long as possible to maybe creep into the territory of maybe doing this in one more stop. I think you're right, Justin. I don't think we can do it under one more stop, but not unless we get a lot of caution. Battle for position, Lal and Mason Mitchum. And Mitchum passes. But I think we're going to have to do this under like 2 1/4 stops.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like that type of situation where he can stretch here. Know that Mitchum's got the experience in this series, ran for pole laps, for example, last year on the solo shows. But in terms of the strategy side, I'm not quite sure. They're already running 5 laps longer than they were able to do from the start of the race is the interesting part, Gary. So you're talking about maybe some playing around with the fuel mapping to maybe save a little bit, see if they can reach out and try something, anything, to try and mix it up, as we did have Stock and Dufresne about those who just ducked down this time.
Drivers checking in from the infield care center. Strauss says he is fine after his incident there that took him into the wall and ended his day. Glendy coming to pit road.
Yep, there it is. And here's the situation. With 105 to go, if they end up getting another 55 lap run in over the course of one of the two stints, there's a great chance to be able to try and split it. I don't know if it's going to be possible or not. It might be down to another one of those fuel-saving races. But Glendy's at least giving himself a shot, but he just cost himself some time.
Now Hunter Ingrave going long, and Hunter, we know Hunter knows how to save fuel, and he is coming to pit road right now, and he has managed to go 2 laps longer than most other drivers. So this is helping his cause on that final stop. We saw him do kind of the same thing at Gateway, and then there was a late caution there, and of course turned Gateway into a shootout. Mason Mitchum on pit road. So this will turn the lead back over to Liam O'Sullivan, who comes off of corner number 4, and he will pick up all the positions that he lost coming to pit road, and he's going to pick himself up a pretty sizable lead as he passes Mason Mitchum on the access road coming off.
Yeah, really interesting how things have played out here. Will say Watson didn't lose the track
This
position.
is going to be interesting. Here's Hunter Ingrave off of pit road. He was still the leader. He's coming up the speed, and here comes Liam O'Sullivan. Is he going to be able to catch him at the backstretch? There he goes. I tell you what, if Hunter was just a little bit further out in front, Hunter might have been able to hold off and maintain the lead coming to pit road as a leader and leaving as a leader. But he's going to stay right in the draft and be able to roll right back up to Liam there. And he will be a solid lead now with the track position saved and gained and now pocketed for Hunter. He is now up at the second solidly, and he's going to be right behind him, his teammates in third and Mason Mitchum in fourth. Now the thing that's going to help these guys in second, third, and fourth, Justin, is that those guys all stayed out longer. They all came to pit road later, and they all maintained their track position. Liam O'Sullivan, he's going to have to come to pit road sooner than all these guys because of the fuel burn that he's doing up front.
It's an interesting situation I've noticed here too, was noticing this at the end of the run. There is, for drivers, yes, you can push tight here, Gary, if you over-abuse them and over-exert, but the fall-off band isn't there. The fastest laps were 3/10 quicker, but they're all driving 3/10 slower than those personal best right now for the most part. For the most part here, Gary, this situation's quite simple. The fall-off is not drastic at all for the end of the run for times. It's drastic on the wear percentages, but a lot of these drivers are kind of seeing this here where you better be able to run a good average speed because that average speed is what you're probably going to run the whole run.
Yeah, it's pace, it's consistency. And watching two drivers battling for position right here, Law and Watson. Watson's held on to that track position that he's gained at the start of this race. He's up 9 spots. Amon Law's right back to where he started. Started 5th, currently is in 5th. Inside the top 5, Mason Mitchum is your biggest gainer. He's up 20, just ahead of this duo right here.
Yeah, and these 4 are in a great spot to try and battle it out, obviously, up at the front as long as the strategies work out for them here. And Graham in particular is going to be the wild card because of his fuel mileage here. Same for Mitchum, who's trying to close up a little bit. But Glendy, he's been fast all day, and Glendy's been the best driver at the end of these runs. Can he capitalize? All while Lau and Watson have lost 2/10 and are losing about a half a tenth to a tenth a lap compared to the average of the main group.
you're just joining us, this is Velocity Online Racing's coverage of Season 15 of the VOR IndyCar Championship, coming to you from Kansas Speedway for the inaugural running of the VOR Kansas 325. We have 96 laps to go out of the scheduled 217. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. The next race for the Velocity Online Racing channel will be tomorrow for round 9 of Season 29 of the International IndyCar League, as the series heads to the oval at Twin Ring Motegi. Coverage starts at 9:30 a.m. That's 9:30 tomorrow morning a.m. Get up and early, folks. Get those breakfasts done and get into the cockpit or get into the stream. That's tomorrow morning right here on the Velocity Online Racing channel.
And it's going to be an interesting schedule for those drivers, to say the very least, especially two of the Indy side coming up next weekend for this series. And let me ask you this here, Gary. Who do you think is going to get the edge at the Brickyard next week?
Well, I'm looking at that starting lineup, and I know we should never rule out Clindy, but Clindy is going to start 23rd. He did not have the greatest qualifying run. Let's not, of course, Liam O'Sullivan definitely loves that place. He is on the pole. I'm just going to shout out my man Julian, and let's not lose any attention to Mason Mitchum. Mason Mitchum almost won that race in the Vote of Indy Oval Series. Actually, he did. He won it on a steward's decision, but he has a very good luck there, and he has himself a good start in 8th. So I'm looking to Julian and Mason maybe have a good race there. Hunter Ingrave as well. He's in the top, starts in the top 3 rows, top 4 rows. But Clindy, a former winner there, he's got a long way to go, being deep in the field in 23rd starting position.
It'll be an interesting race, to say the least, with the best looking to battle it out. But all of this is while we're already halfway through this fuel stint for this one. Packs are starting to splinter even more. Clindy now has lap cars in between him and the race leader to deal with. Keep in mind, Stock and the 88 have had their struggles at times here tonight. Going to be a challenge to get by them, and you can see they're a little bit slower than your leaders.
And they are right in between. They are the meat in the leader sandwich right now. That is Mariani and Stock. And Mariani, Stock at one point was battling in the lead pack. Just this last pit stop, just not the best stop for him, and lost a lot of track position. And soon as Liam gets around those guys, he has Vince and Henrique just up in front of him. In fact, he has just reached Vince's draft envelope at 1.5 seconds, so he is now starting to feel the effects of whatever dirty air that Vince's car is creating in front of him.
Yeah, exactly. And right now, Clindy's just struggling with that a little bit here compared to O'Sullivan, who's able to pin it. I'm interested in terms of the lanes once again, though. O'Sullivan all race long, Gary, has preferred to run the high line up in the corners. That's where you can keep it a fair bit pinned. There is the bit of the aero wash. Seeing a couple of those drivers just don't clap the wall again.
Stock as Mason Mitchum gets around Watson for 5th. I'll throw it back to you, Justin. Is Clindy struggling, or is Clindy just back there running a pace, knowing that Liam O'Sullivan has to come to pit road sooner than he does?
Well, I think he knows that it's going to come back to him later on. So that's part of the strategy, is let the race come to him. The second part of this is you're going to have a struggle period compared to the race leader. There is now not really an advantage, though, for the leader because of this traffic. So it's kind of going from struggle to, okay, it's back to equal playing field. Now we both get aero wash.
Yeah, Clindy is there. Clindy is all of a sudden eating up that territory. And Sullivan up in the wall. He gives contact and gets a little bit of rub, loses some momentum. And now here comes Clindy to the bottom side, gets the position. He gets under Henrique, who gets out of the way, and Clindy goes to the point. So all of a sudden we are talking about Clindy, having some problems all of a sudden. Now Clindy's the leader. Oh, and Sullivan into the wall again off of 2.
I'm getting a little bit dicey here. And all of that is Cena Sullivan, who's been trying to run as a top line warrior, just washed up. He's been floating with that all day, and it all came down in part to that choice of the lap car to run the top with him.
was that old song in the 70s I used to listen to called Abracadabra, and it'll reach out and grab you. Well, that's what these walls do here. If you get too close, they got like magnets in them, and all of a sudden they're going to reach out and grab you and hold you. And that's what we saw on at least 2 occasions over the last couple of laps for Liam O'Sullivan, who was the leader, and he is now back to third. Hunter Ingrave in second. But look at this whole host of cars that are just behind, starting with Mason Mitchum, Law, Watson. They are all intermixed in with lap traffic, trying to get around them, but everybody kind of at the same pace right now among this group.
Yeah, all of them staying relatively close yet again now with the way the arrow worked for a lot of these drivers in the pack. But we are, for many of these drivers, going to have to figure out where are they going to slice and dice to be able to make up this ground. Mitchum, still not yet to make the pass now. The still staying in the train, but that train still is pretty spread out even, Gary.
He gets on the low side there of Law. Law trying to get a little bit of the whiff of the driver in front of him. That is, trying to say that might be Muriani in front of him to try to help a little bit of the pull, help pull him forward.
Yeah, that would be Muriani yet again, as here goes Watson.
Watson on the outside. He sucks right up into the battle. He got the draft, and maybe a little bit of a deploy on the hybrid when other drivers around him probably weren't paying attention, and he's there. We're 2 by 2, but a battle for side-by-side for position for 5th is Mitchum and Watson, 2 drivers with a lot of experience in these cars.
Yep, exactly, and we're seeing that feistiness pop up yet again. And experience has paid dividends to be able to figure stuff out here today to see what lane is going to be the best, and in particular, is it worth running the top compared to the bottom? How is it going to fare out with the fuel burn, etc.? It's all been a part of a big strategy roulette, so to speak, for a lot of these teams. And keep in mind, a couple of them are flirting with the one stop to the end here, possibly, barely, in what might be adjusting on the fuel mapping. And that's the thing I'm interested about, is how many teams have adjusted on that over the course of this run to burn less fuel, try and have a little less power, but also much better fuel mileage to be able to have a charge at the end, maybe run fuel map 4.
New leader, Hunter Ingrave, to the point, and I was just getting ready to say the one driver that's not saving fuel, to go off your point, was Clindy. But now I got to believe that Clindy and Hunter Ingrave are doing a little tag team effort at the front, being teammates. They're going to help each other and try to make this run long as possible for each other by giving a little bit of draft assist to each other on each lap here.
Yeah, and that's going to be helpful for them to try and break away. Again, the key is draft swap. There it is.
Lal to the inside of Liam O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan's kind of pinned behind Dan Inch with no place to go, and that's going to allow Lal on by. O'Sullivan then tucks back behind Lal and gets the position around Liam. It kind of cuts up in front, Liam kind of cuts up in front of Inch, letting him know his displeasure. I don't know where Dan Inch was supposed to go there. He held his line and was predictable, but Liam O'Sullivan, a little frustration there, and showing on the racetrack as he loses another position as he falls back to 4th.
Yeah, here's a look at what you're talking about here, O'Sullivan. Yeah, just got absolutely stuck. Frustration obviously going to pop up there as lap car says, cars are ready to be inside, can't go any higher than the wall. Go on by on the inside, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, he just held his line and remained predictable. And while Clindy and Hunter Ingrave are working together, Amon Law has kind of snuck away, and he's going to join that 2-car battle up front.
And every time someone seems to almost break away, they're able to claw right back up. The draft swap for the Rogue Machines keep on up, but my question is, if you're allowed, do you try and break this up here? Try and take away the opportunity for the two to work together a bit or not? It's right now in the perfect spot. If you're the Rogue Machines, Lal is going to try and break them up and will.
I think that's the play here, is to be the spoiler, to break up this group and allow Liam O'Sullivan to get back in, at least make it an even tag team match. Right now it's a handicap match, 2-on-1. if Liam O'Sullivan gets closer, and as we go 3 wide off the corner, and Liam O'Sullivan is there, it is now an even match. We're going to go 3 the tri-oval. Careful, boys. Hunter Ingrave up top, no place to go there. Here goes Liam O'Sullivan to the top, using that aggression, and he goes back to the point.
And yet again, swap it again as a result of the shuffle. So the Rogue Machines go from leading the pack to giving it right to the Alternate Machines as a result here. We'll say O'Sullivan's going to have to think about a stop soon. We're coming up to next time by what will be already coming up towards 70 laps to go. Fiolas has already indicated pit stops, so the window is open.
Fiolas in 7th position. He is currently 47 laps into his stint. He went 49 on his last stint. He's coming to pit road right now, and he's pitting 2 laps earlier than he did his previous stint, so he is definitely looking at one more stop to make the distance. Up front, Liam O'Sullivan at 42 laps. He pitted at 48 in his last stint. 35 for Amon Lal. He went 55, so he has another 20 to go, and that gets him into making this his last stop. Clindy at 34, he went 56. The same thing with Clindy, Hunter Ingrave in the same boat. So I think doing your math from earlier, Justin, the guys that are sitting pretty right now are Lal, Clindy, and Ingrave, as they are still in the 30s on this current stint, while everyone else around them are in the 40s.
Exactly, and right now, this is going to be a tough situation for some of these drivers here. You have to wonder, again, quite simply, the hope is simple. Do you get the caution flag to be able to equalize things up, take away those chances? You can't really risk that. Fontana's a good example of that. And we're seeing a lot of these drivers really battle and try and stretch here. And Great for Reference has let these other cars go. So we've not been willing to push. Well, Clendy, he's been pushing at the end of the run and looking to try and keep O'Sullivan within his grasp.
I don't know if Clindy's pushing at the end of the run or he just has better consistent pace over the course of the run, managing those tires a little bit as this track begins to wear in more and more and more. And now checking the weather, the track temp has come down just a little. It's 106 Fahrenheit on the track temp. Ambient went up 1 degree. It's 68 to 69, but I got to wonder, Clindy's just more consistent over the run, whereas we see Liam with that unbridled aggression. It's displayed almost on every single lap, and that is later taken out into the tires as he kind of falls off pace and falls back to this group.
Yeah, and we're seeing the natural progression, the way this race has gone, pushing some of the drivers indeed down that order. But Henrique comes on down this time by to start things for his sake. Should see O'Sullivan come on down. This is around the time we've seen Fiolas duck down last time in terms of the window.
Henrique 4 laps sooner than he did on his last stint. So again, this green flag run showing that you can't nearly save as much as you did last time. We expect to see Liam O'Sullivan now starting at lap 48 of this stint. He went 48 in the last stint. Let's see if he comes down pit road this time or if he's managed to save some. Nope, here he comes, right on cue. Now Clindy completing 41 laps of his stint. He went 56 last time, so he still has another 15. So if we look at the laps to go at 64, do the math, he'll come to pit road with 50 or less and should be good to go to the end. This is final stop time for these guys that are in first, second, third, and fourth on the racetrack. James Watson's going to have to come sooner rather than later. But Julian is also on the same schedule as the top four, excuse me.
Yeah, numbers I don't think are adding up here. As for some reason, Tepper's flared up in the next pack, by the way, as there was near contact thing in front of Deitch. Yeah, for some reason, the 17 was not happy with what they seen with Fiolas coming out of pit road. I'm not sure if what he didn't like. I think it's the lap prior that the call came through. Was that it there? I'm not sure. Let's see here. This might be a little bit further back, but you can see already was weaving and bobbling. And then here comes Violas in the situation. Zips on by him. Should be right there. And so let's zoom on ahead, and this is going to go to the back straightaway. This is what I seen right there, that Hardy cut. That's why I thought he almost came off pit road. Violas had a Hardy cut.
And a twitch like that with slick tires, if they could break loose. Yeah, he got a bit of a run and had to take a bit of a, but, keep in mind, these cars are moving a football field a second. James Watson, black flag on pit road, speeding on the final stop or next to last stop, and this is going to be painful for his chances on a great day for the Team Watson Racing owner there. And he is now in his box, but he's going to have himself a 40-second hold. Going back to the incident we just saw, you move at a football field a second, so just a little twitch of the wheel, and then we see Hunter Ingrave now going to the point. And here goes underneath Clendy. A little twitch of the wheel is going to make the car make an evasive maneuver. And I think that's kind of what we saw there a little bit with Violas.
Yeah, at that point, a little bit of a bold move, but it kind of had to take the run, as you said, to be able to try and make the momentum work. Already had the few pit stop previous. Take advantage of the fresh Firestones, but look at this craftiness we're seeing in this group. They work their way down the straightaway already. Some of the drivers of pit. Alteta just peeled down from it. Clendy, as I said, would eventually find his way to the front by the back end of this run, and that's exactly what's happened here.
Hey, I don't know if you can hear, but I can hear just the different pitch of these cars. Probably should do on an onboard. Clendy's last lap at 203, Ingrave's last lap at 200, Law at 201, Mitchum at 202, Julian at 209. So these guys are off the pace, purposely trying to save fuel here, running the point. That's why we don't see really racing one another. But you can listen, and we can see the lights on Mitchum's wheel there. He's in fifth gear, not even getting it up into the blue. They're all purposely off the pace. This is fuel save right here.
Yeah, now this becomes a major gamble to see if they can stretch it. Remember what I talked about, trying to get to 55 at least? We're at 55 right now, and I don't know if even that's going to be enough, just with the fact most of the drivers are only running up to 50-ish. Well, Sullivan's definitely not making it if it stays green.
He's at full burn. His last lap was 210, and he's now approaching this entire group who is 205 or less for the most part. And he's going to blow right by him, but he's at full burn. He's got nothing to lose here. So that's the only option. That's the only card he can play. It's just go full burn.
Exactly, and some of the drivers start to say pit stops not in this group at least. Still looking at the numbers here. They are not stretching, still in fifth gear. Some of them, we'll say, Engrave's running in sixth gear. Enrique in sixth gear trying to power his way past these drivers, two coming up. They've got to at least get to 50 to go, I think, to get safe. Get to 50 to go, work the math from there. It's going to really come down to that, just based on how far the normal full pace is. Lau's not going to make it.
Yeah, Lau's got to blink first. And this is a bit of, I'm going to say, I don't know Lau's oval experience. I know he has wins on oval and other kind of VOR broadcasting series like the GIC and some of those, but I don't know his oval experience necessarily. And really, fuel saving, trying to maintain pace on an oval is an entirely different skill set than if you're a road course centric or a road course expert. So he might be doing a little, class might be in session right now for Law. He was learning a little bit on the job training, so to speak. But for guys like Hunter Ingrave, Clendy, Mason Mitchum, with a ton of oval starts, this is nothing new for these three. And here comes Clendy. I think he has the blink next. And he did 54, coming to 55 on this stint. He did 56 on his last one.
That might be the numbers needed here. Ingrave is definitely going to be right about where he needs to be here. Same for Mitchum. Those drivers, I think, are going to have the best opportunity to be able to go for it for the end.
Mitchum, he's coming up. No, I thought he was coming to pit road. He's going for a pass, actually. Which makes me think that maybe he's done saving.
Yep, and I think at this point, let's see if the pace picked up here. Yeah, 25.6. They immediately picked it up.
207, 210, yep.
Yep, they immediately are in their window. They can battle it out and push. They are going to be well safe on this fuel run.
Yeah, they just flipped the switch. They might be down a little bit on one of the engine maps, maybe two. Probably not in one, but they're definitely letting it run 209, 208. Each one turned a lap that time by for on my timing and scoring. Liam O'Sullivan at full burn, trying to run this group down, but he is a considerable distance behind them. And here comes Mitchum. Here comes Hunter Ingrave. So both of them coming to pit road. Oh, don't go up on the pace track. Mitchum almost up on the racetrack.
I think he went on the way on the racing surface. Is that going to be a penalty post? Yeah, and that's not a pit stall. That's not a pit stall. He just towed it.
Hunter Ingrave went black flag, and there might have been frustration and punched out there. Mason Mitchum, he went up on the racetrack just a little bit. I don't know how much up on the racetrack he went that was going to be worth the review, but he is down and away. And that is his final stop. He is done. And I believe Clindy is done as well. And we'll see if Clindy comes out in front of Mitchum. And I don't think he is, actually.
No.
Mitchum's half a straightaway down on him.
Yeah, you have Lafiolis and Altena who are going to be obviously in different stages of might not make it here, but I am shocked. In the case of Ingrave, I know the frustration boils over, but my thought is simple when it comes to his case. Get the best points you can. You're top 5 of the point standings here. Don't lose ground from a rage quit.
Just shows you how critical, going back to Scott Dixon a couple of years ago at the Indy 500, coming to his final pit stop and just speeding just enough to get the black flag and get the penalty, and it cost him his second Indy 500 win. It just shows you how critical it is to practice green flag pit stops, to practice getting on the pit road under hot conditions, controlling your car on the apron. There's a lot going on, not just getting on the pit road and getting into your stall, but there's just a lot of moving parts. And to do it 3-4 times a race under green flag conditions, it's not easy. Just to show you how hard this is. And one little mistake will take you out of the running after 300, almost 300 miles, 300 plus miles of action on the racetrack, proving that you can save fuel, and just coming down for that last stop. One little tiny mistake. 43 to go here. Justin Liam O'Sullivan out front by 7 seconds over Amon Lal. Fraser Clegg sitting right in the draft behind Liam O'Sullivan. Kind of out of the running right now. Amon Lal, though, in a battle with his team owner and teammate, Julian Altena, for second. Julian back in third. Julian, he is 14 laps under his current stint. So he decided to come in the pit road a little bit earlier than everyone else. And here comes Fiolis. He's right with them.
And we know Fiolis absolutely is on a different strategy here, on a different island, if you will, on this
he needs to move. Yeah, he's got to go.
Yeah, he's got to find a way to get up to O'Sullivan, and 8 seconds back is not going to get the job done. He's going to be well down the order, potentially, unless he gets some luck here. But some of the others that are also interesting to keep an eye on, Christensen definitely on a 2-stop, has had a decent race today. He's been able to position himself well. Some of the others also that we've seen, like Altena, have been in the conversation all day. So many different drivers are going to have to hope for the best and hope somebody makes a major mistake there to equalize on strategy, while a lot of these others are smiling ear to ear, I think, like Clendy, like Mitchum, because they're in the catbird seat.
Watching Dan Inch right now in a battle with Dufresne and Miriani. This is a battle for 10th, 11th, and 12th. Dan Inch had a good start here today. There is a Dufresne there in the Oakley car. He is in 10th spot, currently 1 lap down. Top 7, all on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap is 44 Nation. John Christensen, he is in the 7th position, pinning down that last lead lap spot. Michael Dite is the first car 1 lap down. He is in 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, all on the same lap, battling for position. Now we go a little bit further forward. Here is Mason Mitchum watching Clendy and Fiolis battling for position. And again, if I'm Clendy, I just let him go.
And Willie is the thing.
Maybe Fiolis goes, you know what? Pushing here is not going to do him any good. Maybe I need to save now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Fiolis is still going to try and make the pass. He's got to take the run somewhere, but there is the downside. You see the 17 is going to be a big factor on that bottom groove. Yeah, just took away that opportunity to be able to try and make a pass here.
He's going to try to stay out of the way. That's Dite. Michael is in 8th spot. Like I said, first car 1 lap down. So this is Altena, Clendy, Mitchum, Fiolis. For the most part, everybody in this group on the same strategy with the exception of Fiolis. 35 laps into his stint. Julian's 21 laps. Clendy 14, Mitchum 11. Mitchum is probably closest to in the best shape here to make this without stopping again. But I got to believe the way Clendy was racing in that last stint, I think Clendy believes that he's in a position where he is done stopping as well.
Yeah, I think so here too. Seen Clendy try and save a little bit in his sake here, but some of the drivers that we see also in this group, like Altena and company, had to give them huge credit. Start towards the back here today. Julian has been able to really take advantage of the situation to be able to get to track position. But overall, it's been about the execution on strategy. We talked and alluded about it a little bit, and that has really solidified some of the drivers. Keep in mind, a majority of your front runners started at least in the top half of the field. Only a couple have really been able to stick out with their moves. Mitchum up 22, Altena up 19. Fiolis did get up 12 because he immediately charged up to the field. You have Deitch that's up 13 and Stock 10, but those drivers are well out of the contention for the race lead in or lap down here. So really, you're talking about some of your big movers here today. Not too many have been able to make the full charge, we'll say, Gary, but some have at least made some progress with the way the cautions fell today, or caution.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and they're hoping for more. But right now, the racecraft of this group of drivers out there, we started with 25. We are down to 16, has been exceptionally well. Everyone has maintained their best manners for the most part and have looked pretty well here. Here is Fiolis. He's going to bite first to pit road. Here's his final stop as he goes down to the apron to bring the car around to pit road to address service on pit road for a final round of fuel and tires for one of our early leaders.
Yep, and that's not a surprising one because it gives him some runway to be able to recover from that, Gary.
Yes.
Now, my question is, does anybody else respond? As there goes the one of Clendy for what's going to be the net lead for the drivers try to stretch on the one stop, Right now, keep in mind, they're still running a little bit off the pace. They've just backed it down aggressively. They're all in the 26s.
Yeah, Liam O'Sullivan will give you some actual what they are in speed. Liam O'Sullivan, 209 flat. Clendy at 206. Mitchum at 206. Lal at 206. Altena at 207. So O'Sullivan 3 miles per hour plus faster than this group right here on a racetrack that it's very easy to do 220 or right around 220 here in the closing stages. Once again, if you're just joining us, you're watching Velocity Online Racing's coverage of round 6 of 11 of the VOR IndyCar Series and the IndyCar Championship, coming to you from Kansas Speedway for the inaugural running of the VOR Kansas 325. Where currently Liam O'Sullivan leads with 28 to go, but we think he's going to have to stop. His margin in the lead right now is about 11 seconds. Even if he backs it down, we'll see. Does he have to stop? That is the final question there. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. The next race here on the Velocity Online Racing for the IndyCar Championship is next week, round 7 of season 15. And the teams and drivers head to Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 15th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Cover starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Time next Saturday. It's the biggest race of the season, and it's all right here on the Velocity Online Racing channel next weekend. 27 to go here, watching what we think will be the eventual battle for position and the race win. Mason Mitchum, Clindy, your defending series champion, at the point as we think these two drivers are good to go to the end.
Yeah, and we talked about Mitchum. You expected him to do very well today as an oval ace. He's kind of really showcased it here today with his speed. Now the main thing will be, can he capitalize? O'Sullivan is in.
It blinks, so we knew that we weren't sure how long he would go into this run. He decides to come in earlier rather than later. 38 laps versus the 49 he ran last time to give himself some more time. That little runway you talked about that we saw Fiola's kind of take. He comes down to his spot, goes into the marks, goes up on the jacks. Going to get a new set of Firestone Racing tires and a full tank or just enough fuel of Shell Racing fuel. Down and away, final stop for Liam O'Sullivan. And there we see just in the background, leaders starting to come around now as they're going to catch him on the backstretch.
Yeah, already getting zipped on by. They're going to catch him well before the back straight away. O'Sullivan still inside the top 10. However, the focus quite simply for some of the drivers now is, can they make sure to stretch? It's going to be the long game here. You're going to have to think about this as carefully as you can for the next 12-15 minutes. If you want to try and win this race, we should see a fair bit of swap draft up for the race leaders with the pole. But Lau picking up a lot of ground here to try and gain up on them.
Liam with that stop puts him a lap down. He is now in 7th behind Michael Deitch. Michael Deitch is 33 laps into his final stint. It's questionable whether he needs to come to pit road or not for his final stop. So we'll maintain and continue to watch that. But the lead now, as we watch Clindy now in this nice Robbie Gordon cam shot, just staying right behind Mason and riding it out right now. No panic yet. Still a lot of racing here to go. 22 laps here at Kansas. Check out Julian and Lal side by side. Remember, rule 1 of racing your teammate, thou shalt not race your teammate. That's actually Lal. That's Liam O'Sullivan. Liam O'Sullivan walks by. Yeah, thou shalt not wreck your teammate. Thou shalt not wreck your teammate while a lap down. Here comes O'Sullivan. He knows he needs to push, and he does push on by. Look at Mason Mitchum, though, throw a big fade on Lal up high in 3 and 4. And now, you know what, Justin? This is, if Clindy was even marginally close on fuel, this is what he wants to see. He wants to see a car in front of him pushing to get on the lead lap, but all the while punching a hole in the air so he could save. Liam O'Sullivan is just helping out Clindy right here.
Yeah, he's really trying to dive and try and make these passes still work. But right now, Lau, if anything, might be accidentally helping out Clindy here, really run away here with the gap, because Mitchum's going to have to focus on trying to battle it out here. They also have O'Sullivan going to be feeding dirty air. Look at Clindy trying to snake behind him.
Yeah, this is like the best of both worlds for Clindy. Even if he was marginally close on fuel, he gets to save behind Liam O'Sullivan. That's the guy he definitely wants to beat, right? That's the guy that's trying to hope the rest of these guys run out of fuel. And, well, he's not helping the cause. And I don't know any way that Liam could make this situation any better for him. other than falling back behind and saying, you know what, I'm not going to let you save fuel at my expense. But I don't think that's actually the play to go. So he's like, damned if he does and damned if he doesn't.
Exactly, and it's going to be such a different type of battle here when it comes to these drivers that it's kind of, what choice do you make? It's kind of really about how well that decision making is going to be when you're racing so fast lap times at more than 200 miles an hour here at a track like Kansas. 16 laps to work with here, though. And right now, O'Sullivan being a thorn in the side of the fuel save pack, and if anything, is pushing the tempo of the fuel save pack.
And if anything, now, maybe Liam now realizes that he might not be in the position for the win unless the caution comes out right this second, is maybe trying to help out his teammate Law, and that's kind of what he's doing. He's staying to the bottom, giving the draft to Law, pulling Law along by, and now pulling Law to the lead. And maybe these two could work together to lock Clendy out.
Yeah, there is the chance here, and that might be the play here, Gary, at this point. Now that the teammates are lying at the bottom, try and set something up, or don't be surprised if there's a swap draft between O'Sullivan and Lau. Lau does want to still save, though. Still doesn't want to give him that bottom of the racetrack for anything.
Lau has 2 laps worse on this run than Clendy. Clendy 36 laps in the stint, Lau 38, Mason Mitchum 33. I'm going to say for sure, Mason Mitchum good to go. Clendy probably on the edge, Lau on the precipice. I would imagine that he is closer to the edge than Clendy.
Yeah, Lau is absolutely in that situation, remember, by a couple laps. Here's the side-by-side again, though. Looks like they're starting to back off again with O'Sullivan starting to run away here. 12 to go. Then that fuel number getting more and more focused for these drivers for them. Already 40 laps for Lau, 38 for Clendy, 35 for Mitchum. He's in the best spot. Look at Clendy on the cut.
And he goes to the bottom. He left the door open. Mason Mitchum, full burn back in third. He's just biding his time, waiting for his opening, keeping the tires nice and cool. He has the patience as they get really close. A little bit of a side check on the front straight almost. This isn't Olympic hockey, guys. You can't do checking like that. And Clendy goes to the point, using Liam O'Sullivan to pull himself forward. Oh, here comes Mason Mitchum to the inside on Law. He just sends it in there. Law wasn't expecting it. Now he's got a wheel there. Now he's got a wheel up to the side pod.
Yeah, getting a little bit edgy again with under 10 laps to go. O'Sullivan backs out, lets most of them go. It looks like he's going to say, have at it. You guys are for the win. Let's see who saves the best. There's a bit of scraping there going on for someone.
10 to go. That was really nice of Liam O'Sullivan on cue. But here comes to the bottom Mason Mitchum with probably slightly better tires and a little bit more fuel. He goes to the bottom on the racetrack, and he's going to clear the leader, but he's going to leave the door open to the inside. Here comes Clendy again.
Clendy yet again shuffles to the point, but now Mitchum, he has some fuel he can push with a little bit here. Does he, when you use it, he went up more than 220 miles an hour down the straight. Nothing doing up top shelf yet.
Here comes Mitchum to the inside. And again, are they working together now and trying to work their way away from Law and Julian? It's possible. Sometimes the votive drivers and the rogue drivers do work together sometimes in certain circumstances. It could be that they're possible working together. Julian is not part of this battle. He's a distance behind it. He is about 4 seconds, 5 seconds behind this battle. So I don't think Law is going to get any help.
Yeah, at this point, the help's gone. It's going to be, what can he do himself here? Another swap draft for the point. And here comes Laus shoving it in.
He sends it.
Those are the types of moves you have to make here, Gary. You can't leave anything for hesitation. Here comes Mitchell for the both.
Down to the bottom, clears them in 3 and 4. He's going to lead off the corner, coming to 5 to go. We're going to go 3 wide at the line, almost down to the apron. Law, he keeps it off there. Clinty with a bit of a fade, but nothing illegal in that move. Mitchum now back to 3rd. Here comes Law again, trying to line up. Here comes Mitchum to the inside of Law. Law tries the crowd going into 3 and 4. Mitchum's going to get the run through the corner. Law floats up the racetrack. Oh, we had a car coming to pit road. Slow on the bottom. That was slow. They had to get out of the way. And so Mitchum might have had to lift a little bit. That probably caused a little bit of everybody up front, with the exception of Clinty, a little bit of moment of hesitation. Here comes Mitchum to the bottom off of 2. 4 to go, 3.5 to go. Coming into 3 and 4, Mitchum down to the bottom one more time. He'll hold the position. Coming to 3 to go. Oh, blow out to the wall. And it's Valentine's Day, but that's not a kiss you want to have late in this race. And here comes Clinty to the bottom.
Gets the pole yet again. Now the problem is, can Clinty defend now that he's got the point again? Mitchum has the chance to get that pole right on back. Coming to 2 to go.
Again. So I think that's going to rule Law out as we come to 2 to go. Coming to 2 to go. At the line, Clinty loves these 1.5 mile ovals. Mason Mitchum does pretty well himself. They have a car just in front of him. That's Michael Dyke. That's 6 seconds in front, 0.6 of a second. They're going to be able to get benefit of the draft down the straightaways, but the dirty air in the corners is not going to play a role. Here comes Mason Mitchum to the inside. He's going to send it. We're coming to the white flag this time by. Coming off the corner, it's the Pink Panther versus the Blue Meanie on the bottom. Here we go at the line. And there is right there a possible photo finish of what we're going to see next time around. Mason Mitchum down to the bottom. Dyke stay out of the way. He goes up top. Clinty goes to the bottom, gets a little bit of draft. He floats out high. He gets a big run down the backstretch. He keeps it off the wall. He goes to the bottom. It's Mitchum down to the bottom. He's going to hold it off the corner. And we're going to be able to use the apron coming to the finish line off the corner. And that might have been the move that saved Mitchum the race. Mitchum at the line gets the win. Clinty second. What a finish here at Kansas.
Wild end and a good race to the very end. The fuel mileage works out for the top 3. Everybody else had to come down. We have a car upside down. It's John Christensen. So obviously lap cars getting aggressive on the last lap with the aero wash. Yeah, pushed right up, and Christensen up into the catch fence.
Ouch. Good thing this is just a simulation. 48 thousandths of a second, the margin of victory for Mason Mitchum. And I tell you, and I said it before, Mitchum won at Indianapolis in the Votive Indy Oval Series, but he won it on a steward's decision. And I'm just saying it's a matter of time before Mason actually sees the checkered flag on his own, and he gets there today in the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Championship for his first career win. I need to update my notes a little bit here now. He becomes the 45th different winner in Velocity Online Racing IndyCar history over 15 seasons. And now joins Hunter Ingriv and Fraser Clegg as first-time winners this season. That is our third first-time winner. We had 4 last season.
I think for Mitchum, chance to celebrate coming up here in the next moments here. It's been it was an interesting day, to say the least. Just 11 laps led today for that 3 car on the way to the victory. Doesn't seem like a lot, but remember, O'Sullivan ate up a lot of those laps with the fuel burn.
Again, we talked about this earlier in the race when we saw some people get up to the front that were fighting in the mid-pack, kind of mid-race. It doesn't matter where you are at mile 100, mile 200. It matters where you are at lap 217, mile 325. And that's where Mason put himself in position. And we will talk to him here very shortly. And I'm sure the big part of his strategy was that fuel save. But he started 24th, finished first, improved 20 3 spots. Let's get into today's results. Keep in mind, all results are unofficial, subject to review at the end of the race. Mason Mitchum with the win by 48, how do I want to say that again? It's a 48 thousandths of a second. 48 thousandths of a second over Clendy, our defending series champion. Amon Lal comes home third. He slugged it out there at the end. I think just ran out of time and ran out of racetrack. But a good run for him. And I bet Amon Lal learned a ton here on oval racing today. Julian Altena, this is kind of really what he wanted. He needed to creep closer to Liam O'Sullivan in the points, and he did that. And unfortunately, we'll get a chance to talk to Julian. But I'm willing to bet that fuel save was a big part of Julian's game plan today, and that paid off for him as he comes home fourth, last car on the lead lap. Liam O'Sullivan, our points leader coming into today. We'll check and see when the points are updated, if the points are updated here while we're doing our interviews. We'll see if he maintains that going to Indianapolis, where he will start on the pole a week from today, but he comes home fifth. Violas, a good race for him. Again, just burning too much fuel, and that late stop cost him probably a top 5. He does get a top 10. He finishes 6th. Muriani very quietly comes home at 7th. Fraser Clegg, very quietly for him, one of our points leaders, comes home at 8th. John Christensen at 44 Nation with that big wreck on the last lap there comes home 9th. And Michael Deitch, who also had himself a pretty good race earlier on, comes home in 10th. Going on to the next page, we got Dufresne, a good finish for him at 11th. Dan Inch in 12th. Nigel Stock 13th. Zambati 14th. Enrique 15th. Vinci 16th. Hunter Ingrave with the pit road speeding penalty there at the end on the last stop retires to 17th. Just James Watson, didn't see quite what happened to James. I think he did have a speeding penalty and maybe just ended it at that. 18th, but he had himself a good day. F-Tink got put into the wall and got a meatball flag early in this race, and just never ever really be able to quite recover from that. 19th, same thing with Katie Pollock, who was up front challenging at the time when she went into the wall. She comes home in 20th. Then we got Coker, who was also having himself a good day. Comes home in 21st. Strauss, unfortunately, an innocent victim in an incident that turns 3 and 4, goes into the wall, comes home 22nd. Ortiz, unfortunately, ran into a zone hot, unfortunately, with the car sideways and ended his day in 23rd. And then Saucy and Charpentier early in the race on that lap 8 caution and 24th and 25th. And that not a bad size field today on Valentine's Day here in the States. Justin, any thoughts here? Anybody on that you're paying attention to here in the in this top 25 on these standings? I got to say, probably outside of the top 3, I'm going to give my Luis Gonzalez Nunez Driver of the Race Award to Julian Altena for 21 spots better. Last car on the lead lap and finishing kind of with that lead group and making some points on the points leader at the end of this race.
Yeah, is able to claw his way a little bit closer as a result, I think. If not, keeps himself dead even with O'Sullivan. So it's exactly what I think he needed to do here for the point standings. We'll say some of the drivers like Clegg, just going to be happy they finished out with a top 10 here today. I know we felt like it was the worst race ever. He just noted, I think, in the series Discord. The thing is here, Gary, I think today, for him, could have been a lot worse. It could have been last.
That is for sure. And I believe the points have been updated. Double check here. But we will do points after the interviews. Let's bring in Amon Lal. Here is Amon Lal joining me. Amon, congratulations on the podium. Kind of looks like ran out of time and tire and racetrack there at the end, running down these top 2. But how much of this was a learning experience for you today on the ovals? And definitely you had to kind of learn on your own and learn on the fly, because at the end there wasn't a teammate to help you out.
No, exactly. Julian was close, but he told me he wasn't going to make it at the pace we were running at, so I think he dropped off a bit, and then it was essentially 2v1, and I did what I could, but they worked quite well together to finish top 2. But I'll take a P3. I'm not going to complain with that.
Talk about the fuel save to get to the end there. Again, again, not working with anyone and kind of having to do it on your own. How much did you actually learn on the fuel saving side of things on an oval, on a big super speedway, intermediate oval for these Indy cars versus I know your strength is on the road courses?
Yeah, I think I got a bit fortunate for coming out from my pit stops behind a couple of back markers, so that helped quite a bit. I noticed as well on 2 of the stops I gained a lot of time on at least Kyle, I think, just coming in and out of the pit box, pit lane, sorry. But yeah, obviously he gained all that back, and Mason as well, he managed to get ahead. But yeah, first time racing at Kansas as well, so yeah, it's a good learning experience for me.
Empty notebook page at the start of this one, but it's a full notebook at the end of this one for everything you learned. You're now 5th in the points. The points have been updated. You're 10 points behind Frazier in 4th. Going into the last couple of races of the season, still in contention. 53 behind the overall leader, which is still Liam. Any shout-outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone I want to say hi to on a podium finish today? And then we head to Indianapolis.
Yeah, good work by the team again. I think at one point we were all saving fuel, except Liam. I think he was just full push. But yeah, looking forward to Indy 500 next week. For once, I've actually got a good starting position, so hopefully I can do something with that.
Well, let's see if you can capitalize on a good finish at the world's greatest speedway, world's most famous race course, excuse me. But congratulations on the P3 here today. Amon Lal, P3 here at the Kansas 325. Joining us in the booth here from second place, our defending series champion, Clindy, coming home second on the racetrack. He is with Justin Prince.
Yes, indeed. And Kyle, let's talk about this one today. How do you feel about the fuel mileage burn towards the end of this one? A fuel mileage race breaking out with a caution yet again.
I mean, it was a fuel save from the start of the green flag. You needed to go 54 laps every time but one, and then go 55 the other time. That's what we were all planning to do in our call. So me and the votive cars and Hunter. And I just was trying to keep Liam from leading a lap for as long as possible. And I'm like, I'm sure we'll get a yellow. So if I burn a bunch of fuel up here, I'll just pit under that yellow and I'll be fine. When the first yellow fell, Liam still had not yet led. And I'm like, okay, great. Well, I guess I'll stay out here. And then as soon as he led, I flipped back to map 5 and just saved a bunch of fuel and saved so much that I was right on schedule with everybody else. And then that next yellow came out and it equalized the playing field, except for those who weren't saving and pit under green under that first run. So yeah, just that type of racing always is fun because you get to work with your brain and with your foot and with your friends to try to save some fuel. And it's kind of fun to have a 2v2 slugfest at the end with O'Sullivan helping out Amon and then me and Mason helping out each other.
Indeed, in terms of today as well, let's talk about how the battles worked in terms of the Aero today. It seemed like, at least today, the bottom was where a lot of people wanted to be, but seen a few people playing around with the top, but also air washing themselves into the wall. How would you describe the battle in terms of lane progression as well as fighting that dirty air where you were the best, one of the best, in fact, on tire bar at the end of these runs?
I don't want to toot my own horn or, step around in my big shoes making squeaky sounds or anything, but if you were saving fuel and lifting appropriately, there was absolutely no aero wash today, actually. The car was so mechanically loose, the car would drive itself, and it didn't matter where you pointed it as long as you lifted on entry just a little bit, right? You could be right behind someone the entire corner, and the car handled exactly the same whether you were in clean air or right behind somebody. It was all mechanical grip. So, I mean, when I first drove the setup in practice, I really didn't like it. It was far too loose for me. I put the tools where it was tolerable, and it still drove the same. It just felt a little more stable for me on entry, especially. I was way too loose on entry. The default tools, if you even thought about turning the steering wheel, in my opinion anyway, you would just die. And I was very happy to see that the field didn't really devolve into a wreckfest with such a difficult to drive car. But because it was difficult to drive, it was rewarding to drive and very easy to drive in traffic.
So with that in mind, the big race, the 500-miler is coming up next week. How do you feel about your chances for the Brickyard?
Well, I'm the defending winner, Justin.
Yes.
So, gonna try to go back to back, I guess. I know I'm starting from the back because I qualified on an Xbox controller, and
Well, okay, why'd you qualify on an Xbox controller?
I was in Virginia Beach hanging out with my buddy who was my roommate while he went to college back in Illinois, and I brought my laptop along and, logged 4 clean laps on an Xbox controller, and that was a journey in and of itself. So we got around 10 miles, and we made the show because I wasn't sure how many people were going to show up to qualify, right? I think I beat 3 guys on pace, so if 36 people had showed up, I'd be on the last row. But yeah, the race itself, I don't know. Julian says the setup's good. I haven't had the chance to put a lap in on it yet, but if I can get a top 5, that'd be great. But I'd love to win, so we'll see.
Well, hopefully not on a controller next week. But on that note, any shout-outs you'd like to give here? I know Gary is very amused by the controller.
Hey, it works in a pinch. I was in a pinch and it worked. That's if it's stupid and it works, is it stupid? That's a question for somebody else, I guess.
Crazy stupid.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody for, again, making such a green race out of such a difficult to drive car. Shout out to Mason on his win. Amon on fighting clean and fair for a top 3 up there. That was really cool of him. The whole field really, like I said. And then of course, my teammate Hunter Engrove, he had computer issues all day long. He's been having it for a while where it'll just stutter down to like 10 frames on him. So hopefully we can get him some computer therapy and do some retail prescription to get him beefed up with the little magic rocks that do math and get him out here on the podium where he belongs. But other than that, all my sponsors, the Votive Racing League, Advanced.gg, Sagerman Farms, and my mom and my dad and all my friends and family watching wherever they are, we're all around the world on this Valentine's Day. Go be with your loved ones, give them a hug and a kiss. The pink car couldn't get it done today, but the baby blue, Valentine's Day, baby blue, thinking ahead. So have fun with Mason when he's up here. I'll see you guys later.
Congratulations on second to Kyle as he sprints away. Well, at least he's not going to be on a controller on next Saturday here, Gary. But Mason Mitchum, he was the one to capitalize for the win. Let's see what his thoughts were.
And here is Mason Mitchum joining us in the booth. 12 now career starts in the series, getting his first win. And Mason, thank you very much for making me sound smart at the beginning of this race. I saw you at the back of the pack. I'm wondering if he's on the first challenge today. We should watch him from the back of the pack. He is going to be a contender by the end of the day. And I've been saying that you've been getting close on when we've been doing the races on the Indy Oval Series. We know that you got awarded the win in Votive, even though that was a steward's decision. You've been wanting to see the checkered flag. Well, that checkered flag finally came today. Congratulations. Talk about out-dueling Clindy there at the end. But all the while, it was a long story for you. You had to work your way from the back of the field to the front. Normally, we see you start at the front, and sometimes those races don't always work out for you, and you kind of fade to the back. Today was an opposite story. Started from the back and worked your way all the way to the front and stayed there.
Yeah, this actually wasn't anything to do with fuel saving or anything when I first started the race. It was mainly just because I feel like a lot of people think I'm only good at qualifying and that I can't do anything else. So I was like, well, it's time to starting in the back. I don't run this league as much as I wish I could. So it doesn't really matter what points I get or don't get, right? So I'm just here for fun to get better over time. And so I'm like, let's start from the back, see if I can go through the field. I did realize, even after I skipped qualifying, that, hey, you can probably make it on a mega fuel save if you just chill in the back. So I pretty much just followed Julian. I said, whatever Julian does, I'm probably going to do now. And then I kind of noticed over the runs, and, I was in map 5 the entire race, like almost the entire race. I was in map 5. And I was just chilling, and I was passing people. I'm like, oh, their tires are falling off, which is kind of funny because that's usually me. But, I like to go fast. Saving tires is so tedious sometimes, but it's one of those things where I'm just like, I got to get good at this, and so I'm just putting effort into it. I want to make sure I can get as good as I possibly can get and as fast of a time period as possible. So I know how to qualify. Now I need to learn how to do my tires. Once I match those up to the same skill level, I think I'll be pretty tough.
What is the big lesson that you learned from the day that you could take forward that you can now check off the list and say, well, I don't have it necessarily mastered, but I have a very good understanding now, and I know now what Robert Molechka does and Clindy does up front that gets him all these wins.
It's just lifting more, just more every single time, and it just seems it doesn't seem like it makes any sense. Like if I lift, they're gonna get away from me. But then when you actually lift like all the way off, like you just take your foot all the way off the pedal just for a split second, they don't get away from you. And then you just catch back up on the straightaway. And that whole time period, half a corner or not even half a corner, however much it is that you're lifting and not doing anything, is just giving you 2%, 3%, 1% more, right? Every time. And then over that long period of time, you're just absolutely gapping people, right? And some people are really good at it, like, I know like a Law, man, he was doing good. He was doing great out there. I thought he was going to fall off more than he did, and he did not. So congrats to him. And, I saw Clindy. I knew he was going to be good on tires. But that's one thing I've learned is just lift more. Always lift more.
How did the hybrid play a role today? This is the first time we've been at this racetrack ever in the VOR series, but this is also the first time we've come here with the hybrid in a while. How did the hybrid play a role in today's race?
Yeah, I mean, I think the hybrid's totally fine. I think a lot of people use it the same way, or at least I imagine they do. I really don't know, actually, but I imagine I use it the same way like Clindy does, right? I mean, he teaches me a lot of lessons, so I make sure to remember those lessons so that way I can stay up there with them a little bit more. But I mean, I just used it twice every single lap. Every single entry, I would just charge it up, and then once I get to the apex, I would release it, and then once I was on the straight, I was back on the hybrid all the way until it was gone, and just rinse, repeat the entire race.
Sounds like a lot of busy hands on a racetrack that everything happens so quickly, being a 1.5 mile intermediate oval. Not an easy win. Winner by 48 thousandths of a second. Finally seeing the checker flag for the first time instead of getting one awarded to you after the fact. 45th different winner in 15 different seasons here in the VOR IndyCar Series and the IndyCar Championship, and you're now the newest first-time winner, joining Hunter Ingrave this season and Fraser Clegg also this season. So we have 3 first-time winners. Welcome to the fraternity. Congratulations. Any shout-outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone want to say hi to on this Valentine's Day win for you?
Yeah, so the first shout-out is, before the shout-out starts, actually, I do want to talk about that. I'm so glad I got to actually win the race by finishing across the finish line first. It was like just one of those things, like if it gets awarded to you after, you're just like, it just doesn't feel right, So I am glad that this happened. But I'm glad that this happened. But yeah, as far as shout outs and all of that, it's Valentine's Day, so I would be in big trouble if I didn't shout out my girlfriend Mariella. Yes. I know she's watching with her family. Yes. She even told me after the race, "You better shout me out." I'm like, well, I wasn't going to, but now that you mention it, I guess I better. I'm just kidding. I'm not ever. She's probably laughing at me right now, but it's okay. But yeah, I shout out her. She's an amazing woman, and she does a lot of good stuff to make me a better person. So I really gotta shout her out every time I can. Shout out Votive Racing. Man, Shane is putting on what I feel like it's got to be one of the best leagues. It's got to be one of the best teams I've ever been a part of. We work so good together. Everyone's, always trying to get better. We're a bunch of crazy people who are always practicing, trying to one-up each other on something, and I feel like that makes us better in the end, right? Of course, we'll shout out VOR, Velocity On Racing. We have a great series. I don't get to run as much as I could, but I'm ready for the 500. I love that race. I'm so excited for it. I actually look forward to every 500 because I feel like you're just getting so much more experience. All that experience adds up to make it easier to do better going forwards, and I haven't really got to do too many 500s in 3 years. So I think that'll be really nice next week. I'm glad I got to win a series here. Julian can't say I'm a quality merchant only anymore. So, you know what? You can't say it anymore, Julian. But other than that, you guys at P1 do a great job. I love watching these videos. I've got my family watching them every now and then too, whenever I can get them to tune in. So you guys are doing something right, because usually they're always trying to do something else but watch me race. But you know, at the end of the day, great job at P1. I'm happy to win this race. You guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll talk to you later.
Mason Mitchum, the 45th different winner in the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Championship. Winner today, first win here at Kansas. Justin, that's going to wrap it up for us here at this race. Any final thoughts? And then we're going to the biggest one of all, the Indianapolis 500-mile race a week from today.
I think today the strategies really played out perfectly for the top competitors. As some of the drivers said, they knew it was going to be fuel mileage, it looked like, coming in, just because how some of the breakdowns were based on, even with the caution, that made it for sure fuel safe compared to those who were going to be full push. I think in the end, the best who knew that coming in and did the prep work had the experience to take the top steps of the podium. But next week, when it comes to Indianapolis Motor Speedway, all bets are off. It's a challenging race. It takes a lot of luck, precision, as well as strategy to win at the Brickyard. And the question will be, who's going to be able to survive for the 15th running of the Indy 500 when it comes to VOR competition?
One thing we did learn today for this race, that more is less, but being at Valentine's Day, make sure you do more for your loved one after this, whether it be dinner or whatever later tonight, later to this weekend, do something special for a loved one for sure. But I think that's going to do it for today. And once again, before we get out of here, I do want to update everybody on the point situation. Liam O'Sullivan leads by 9 over Julian Altena, so that gap gets a little bit closer. Clindy is in 3rd, Fraser Clegg 4th, Amon Lal 5th, Hunter Ingrave 6th, John Christensen and 44 Nation in 7th, Nigel Stock very quietly working his way up into 8th. Jesper Dahlgren, who we have not seen in the lineup for a while, is in a tie with 9th, with Brian Fiolis. And then Sebastian Dufresne, he is back in what effectively would be either 10th or 11th because of the two-way tie between Jesper and Brian in P9 there. So a lot to still be decided here on this championship with only a few more rounds to go. But really, when you get to Indianapolis in the next week, the points go out the window. It's all about the dub. That's, if you heard Clindy, he's like, hey, I'm the defending champion. Everyone remembers when they win Indy, and the points really don't matter. But the points will carry over in the next week, and we'll see how important it is. But it's all about the W at Indianapolis. So that's it for today. Once again, your podium here for the inaugural running of the VOR Kansas 325. Mason Mitchum with his first career win here in the series. Our defending series champion comes home second, and Amon Lal with another podium finish and a good learning experience for him on the ovals. He comes home third. Join us again next week as season 15 continues for the teams and drivers head to the world's most famous racecourse, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for the 15th running of the Velocity Online Racing Indianapolis 500-mile race. Coverage will start approximately at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, that's 2:00 p.m. Eastern Time. Remember, as always, for a quick time in your area, you can find everything right here at YouTube at youtube.com. Just search Velocity Online Racing. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm game is not an easy one, so please help support us with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you thought of today's race. If you enjoyed today's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so you don't miss out on more Velocity Online Racing's other iRacing coverage, including round 9 of season 29 of the long-running International IndyCar League from the Twin Ring Motegi Oval. Coverage starts at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow morning. If you like IndyCar Oval racing, and we know you do, if you joined us today, then check out the International IndyCar League when it returns to the VOR channel tomorrow morning. To learn more about Velocity Online Racing and what they do, visit velocityonlineracing.com. Like them on Facebook. You can follow on X and Instagram. So for the czar of the iRacing broadcast booth, the great Justin Prince, the suave sounding, and of course our always general on the board, that is Howie Burrows. Good job for Howie today. Thanks to him and everyone else here at Velocity Online Racing. I'm Gary Godso saying, happy Saturday. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for watching, and all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed. God bless and come home safe. Catch us again right here next week in Indianapolis for the biggest race of the season and the next race of the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Championship. We'll see ya.